Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a topic called hybridization under the chapter chemical bonding for class 11 students. And as far as your competitive joint NEET are concerned, this is in your syllabus. Okay. So hybridization, this theory is very important to understand the geometry of molecule, shape, bond angle, their deviation, etc. Okay, so this is a purely theoretical concept. So before going into details of hybridization, the first thing we need to understand why this theory was required. Up to class 10, you know some theory like electron dot structure, Lewis dot structure. So with respect to that, if we are talking about hybridization, why we need this theory? So a simple example I will show you, and then we will go in details for hybridization. So you all know this molecule very well, that is our methane, CH4. Methane is a very common molecule to all of you. We have CH4. There are four covalent bonds of carbon, right? So here the covalency of carbon equals to 4 because it is making 4 covalent bonds. Now if you remember the electronic configuration of carbon atomic number Z equals to 6, right? So the electronic configuration is 1:2, 2:2, 2p2. So the valence shell, that is the outermost shell, this one n equals to 2. So what is the picture of the valence shell? It is a 2s orbital, and then we have 3 2p orbitals, 2px, 2py, 2pz, and this is the picture. So from the electronic configuration, it is clear that in the valence shell of carbon we have only 2 unpaired electrons, right? Only 2 unpaired electrons. And these unpaired electrons of the valence shell, that is actually responsible for the covalent bonds for the valency. So if you see the electronic configuration of carbon, in the valence shell we have only 2 unpaired electrons. So it is expected that the covalency should be 2. But this molecule is a real molecule. We have methane in many cases. This is a real molecule. It exists. It is abundant, and we can see the covalency is 4. So the experimental findings is showing us that the covalency of carbon is 4, but the electronic configuration is suggesting us that the covalency should be 2. So how can we explain this anomaly? Now what is said that this is the electronic configuration of carbon when it is in ground state, GS. GS means ground state. That is the stable elemental state of carbon. But when it makes bond with hydrogen to give you methane molecule, then what happens? Before making the bond, this carbon atom goes to an excited state. So in the excited state, what happens? One of these 2s electron is promoted to this 2pz orbital, and the configuration becomes 2s, and in each of the 2p orbital there is 1 electron. So now in the excited state you can find 4 unpaired electrons. 4 unpaired electrons. So the covalency 4 can be explained in this way. But the problem arises in other way. What is that problem? Covalency 4 is now explained that carbon atom before making the bond goes to the excited state from ground state, where we can have 4 unpaired electrons, so we can have covalency 4. right? Now you know all these single bonds are sigma type of covalent bond. All these are sigma type of covalent bonds. So as far as hydrogen is considered, the configuration is 1s1. So that is its valence electron. So if you take this one in the picture for the bond formation, then it seems that one of the CH bond, it is because of the overlap between 2s of carbon and 1s of hydrogen, and the remaining 3 CH bond, covalent sigma bond, is because of the overlap between 2p orbital of carbon and 1s orbital of hydrogen. See, 3 of the unpaired valence electron of carbon are in 2p orbital. For each of the hydrogen it is 1s. So 3 of the hydrogen are using their 1s orbital to overlap with the 2p orbital of carbon to give you 3 CH bonds, and one of the CH bond is because of the overlap between 2s orbital of carbon and 1s orbital of hydrogen. So we have this one type of CH bond in the methane molecule, and this is the other type of CH bond in the methane molecule. So from theoretical background, it is expected that in CH4 molecule, out of these 4 covalent sigma bonds, 3 sigma bonds are one type in terms of their bond energy, bond length, etc. And one of the CH bond is of other type. That means in terms of bond energy and bond length, we should find 2 types of CH bond in the molecule methane. But the experimental finding, using experimental technique, when we obtain the experimental value of bond energy and bond length of CH bond in methane, what is the experimental finding? All the CH bonds in methane are identical in terms of bond energy and bond length. I am writing in short. BE means bond energy, BA means bond length. So these 4 CH bonds, they are exactly identical in terms of bond energy and bond length when it is experimentally determined. But the theoretical background is suggesting us one CH bond should be of one type and the remaining 3 should be of the other type. So now to explain this anomaly, we need the theory of hybridization. So this was the need where hybridization theory was introduced to explain this bonding. Okay? So the background, the need of hybridization is clear. So here comes the picture. Now see, in the ground state, when the electronic configuration of carbon was considered, it was 2s2 2p2. And then, as I said, in the excited state, one of the electron from 2s is promoted to 2pz. We have now 4 unpaired electrons in the valence shell. So covalency 4 is now confirmed. Now what happens? These 4 orbitals are mixed. Just like we mix substances, these 4 orbitals are mixed. After mixing, it is producing 4 hybrid orbitals which are energetically equivalent. So how can we define the process hybridization? Hybridization is a process where energetically non-equivalent orbitals are mixed to produce energetically equivalent hybrid orbitals. Hybridization is a process in which energetically non-equivalent atomic orbitals are mixed to produce energetically equivalent hybrid orbitals. This is the process of hybridization. And what is the condition of hybridization? The condition is number of atomic orbitals participating in hybridization, this will be equals to number of hybrid orbitals produced. This will be equals to number of hybrid orbitals produce. You can see here that in the hybridization process there are 4 orbitals. One is the 2s orbital and 3 of the 2p orbitals, they are mixed. So total 4 orbitals are participating. That's why after hybridization we are getting 4 energetically equivalent hybrid orbitals. Now this hybridization is known as sp3 hybridization. This is the name of the hybridization. Okay, the type of hybridization is sp3. How this name is coming? Now the participating orbitals, one s orbital is participating and 3 p orbitals are participating. So the name of this hybridization is sp3 hybridization. So all these 4 energetically equivalent hybrid orbitals are named sp3. We have 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals which are energetically equivalent. So now we have 4 unpaired valence electron in 4 energetically equivalent sp3 hybrid orbitals. That is why all the 4 CH bonds in the methane molecule are exactly identical in terms of bond energy and bond length. So here comes our methane molecule. How it is formed? So we have the 1s orbital of hydrogen and the valence shell we have 4 energetically equivalent sp3 hybrid orbital, each of them containing 1 electron. So each of these CH bond is formed by the overlap of sp3 hybrid orbital of carbon and 1s orbital of hydrogen. So they are giving you 4 identical CH bonds in terms of bond energy and bond length. Now the next thing is percentage S character. Percentage S character of sp3 hybrid orbital. So if you take one sp3 hybrid orbital, the contribution of S is 1/4 because in the hybridization one s orbital participated and 3 p orbital participated. So contribution of S, that is 1 part out of total 1 plus 3, 4 part, and we are calculating percentage, so into 100, so it is 25%. That is, if you have an sp3 hybrid orbital, it has 25% of s orbital character, and 75% of p orbital character. So we know p orbital looks like this and s orbital looks like a sphere. It is a spherical shape. Okay, in 3D like this. So we are taking 75% of the dumbbell shape and only 25% of the spherical shape. That means this lobe of the p orbital will get some s character and will become a little bit fluffy. It will tend toward the spherical shape. As a result, what happens when they undergo sp3 hybridization, they give you an hybrid orbital where one of the lobe becomes a little bit bigger and the other lobes become smaller. That means the p orbital is tending towards a sphere. 25% s character is included. Now when we show the structure in this way, the orbital structure, we generally do not mention this smaller lobe part. Otherwise what happens? The structure becomes very clumsy. We only show this bigger lobe part only to show the overlap. Here in the opposite side, this small part is there, but we actually don't show that, so that the picture becomes neat and clean, right? Now the next thing is the geometry. Remember, each and every hybridization is associated with a particular geometry. Okay, the hybridization defines the geometry of the molecule, how the molecule looks, right? So when it is sp3 hybridization, the geometry of the molecule will be tetrahedral. So how the methane molecule look like? If I show you with pen, it will look like this. This is a tetrahedron, right? This is this CH bond, then this CH bond. One of the bond will be above the plane of the bone, and the another bond will be below the plane of the bone. Okay. So this is the tetrahedral geometry. Here at the center we have the carbon, and these four are the four CH bonds. At these terminals we have the hydrogen bond. So each and every hybridization is associated with a particular geometry, and from different hybridization, the geometry will also vary. So till now it is clear that methane molecule, carbon is sp3 hybridized carbon. It is an sp3 hybridized carbon. sp3 hybridized carbon, and the shape or geometry of the molecule is tetrahedral. Another parameter is bond angle. Bond angle means the angle that is existing between the two CH bonds. Okay, that is known as the bond angle. This is one of the bond angle. This is bond angle, and for tetrahedron, this value of bond angle is 109 degree, 28 degree, or roughly you can say 109.5 degree. Okay, so that is the bond angle. So for sp3 tetrahedron, bond angle becomes, it is a regular tetrahedron, no deviation from perfect tetrahedral geometry, and bond angle becomes 109 degree, 28 minutes, or roughly 109.5 degree. Okay. Now here we have another very common molecule, that is ethylene or ethene. Ethylene or ethene. Right. So here also we have CH bond. Now experimentally, what is found that the bond energy and bond length, if you compare the bond energy and bond length, then the CH bond, they are not equal for methane and ethylene. That is, the bond length and bond energy of the CH bond in methane is different than the bond length of CH bond in ethylene. So in methane, the CH bond was the overlap between sp3 hybrid orbital of carbon and 1s of hydrogen. But in ethylene, the experimental findings say that the bond length of CH is different than methane. That means this bond cannot be prepared by the overlap of sp3 and 1s. So it is clear that here this carbon is not sp3 hybridized. So how can we explain for ethylene? We need a different hybridization, only then we can explain. So now I am showing you that hybridization. So carbon in excited state, we know it is this 2s, and in 2p we have 3 electrons in the excited state. Now what happens when it undergo hybridization for ethylene? When it undergo hybridization, it takes this 2s and 2px and 2py, but it does not include this 2pz in the hybridization. So here the participating orbitals are 3. That means the name will be sp2 hybridization, because one s orbital and 2 of the p orbitals are participating. So the name is sp2 hybridization, and we know number of atomic orbitals participating in hybridization equals to number of hybrid orbitals produced. So here it is 3 total. So we will have 3 hybrid orbitals. Each are sp2 hybrid orbitals, and each will have 1 electron, and this 2pz remains as 2pz. This is the scenario. Right? Now if I draw the orbital structure, how will it look? So this is the picture for the ethylene molecule. The carbon-carbon bond is formed, the carbon-carbon sigma bond, because you know that when there is multiple bond, only one of the bond is sigma. If I draw the ethylene molecule again, these things are known to you that single bond means it is always sigma bond, and if there is multiple bond, then for the multiple bond only one bond will be sigma, rest will be pi. So here rest is only one bond, so one pi bond. So this is the scenario. So how the sigma bond is formed? By the axial overlap. So in ethylene, this carbon-carbon sigma bond is formed by axial overlap of two sp2 hybrid orbital. Each of the carbon are using one of the sp2 hybrid orbital to make the carbon-carbon sigma bond, and the carbon hydrogen sigma bonds are due to the overlap between sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon and one s orbital of hydrogen. So if you remember, for methane, the carbon hydrogen bond was due to overlap between sp3 and 1s, whereas in ethylene the CH bond is formed due to overlap between sp2 hybrid orbital and 1s orbital. So now we can explain the experimental finding that why the bond length and bond energies of the same CH bond in methane and ethylene are different, because the participating orbitals of that covalent bond are different. In methane it is sp3 hybridized, but in ethylene it is sp2 hybridized. Now see, when the sigma bonds are formed, the first CH bond and one of the CC bond, remaining is one pi bond. You can see the 2pz orbital that was remaining in the valence shell of both the carbon. Now they are parallel to each other, so they undergo parallel overlap, and which gives rise to the formation of the pi bond. So this is the carbon-carbon pi bond formed between overlap between the two 2pz orbitals, and this one is the carbon-carbon sigma bond. So in this way we can explain the formation of ethylene molecule or the process of sp2 hybridization. Now again we will calculate percentage S character. So for each sp2 hybrid orbital, the contribution of s orbital is 1 and contribution of p orbital is 2 part. So it will be 1 by 1 plus 2 into 100. So that is 33.33%, and percentage p character, that will be equals to 2 by 1 plus 2 into 100, that is 66.67%. So when it was sp3, the percentage S character was 25%, right? But we can see in sp2 the percentage S character is equals to 33.33%. That means now the hybrid orbital will be more like a sphere than compared to sp3, because the S character in an sp2 hybrid orbital is 33%, whereas in sp3 orbital it is only 25%, right? So here I am comparing the shape of sp3 and sp2. So in both cases S and p orbital undergo hybridization, but in this hybrid orbital the S character is 25%, whereas here the S character is 33%, 33.33%. Since S orbital is spherical, so sp2 hybrid orbital, this bigger lobe will look more spherical than the sp3 hybrid orbital, and that is compared in these two structures. See, in sp3 orbital it is less spherical, here it is more spherical. So in this way, if we continuously increase the S character of the hybrid orbital, the lobe will become more spherical and the other lobe becomes more smaller. Okay. So now we have our third very familiar molecule, and that is acetylene or ethylene. And you know this is the structure HC triple bond CH. These two single bonds are sigma bond, and for this triple bond one will be sigma, because two atoms simultaneously cannot form two sigma bonds, so only one will be sigma and the remaining two are pi bonds. So here in the excited state, similarly like the previous two, like sp3, sp2, this is the excited state configuration. And now what is the hybridization? Only one of the s orbital and one of the p orbital. Because here again this CH bond in ethylene is different in terms of bond energy and bond length compared to ethylene. That is again different from methane. Okay, so here again we need a different hybridization to explain this experimental finding. So here it is sp hybridization. So both the carbon will now contain two of the sp hybrid orbitals. How it will look? We will have two energetically equivalent sp hybrid orbital, and then we will have two py and two pz. So these are the two sp hybrid orbital of this carbon, and these are the two sp hybrid orbital of this carbon. So the CH sigma bond is because of overlap between sp and 1s. This CH bond is also because of sp and 1s. The carbon-carbon sigma bond, it is because of the overlap between two sp hybrid orbitals. Now if you remember, when it was ethylene, the carbon-carbon sigma bond was because of sp2 and sp2. In acetylene, it is because of sp and sp, and it is experimentally supported also. That is, the bond energy and bond length of the carbon-carbon sigma bond in acetylene is different than the carbon-carbon sigma bond in ethylene. Because in ethylene it was sp2 sp2, here in acetylene it is sp sp, right? So here again we can calculate percentage S character. So here it will be 1 by 1 plus 1 into 100, because one of the s orbital is participating and one p orbital, so it is 50%, right? So for sp hybrid orbital, percentage S character is 50 and percentage P character is also 50. So it will become more spherical, as I said earlier, that greater the S character of the hybrid orbital, it will look more spherical, because S orbital is spherical in shape. Now in this orbital diagram, the sigma part is covered. The CH sigma bond is because of sp1s, this is sp1s, and the carbon-carbon sigma bond is because of sp-sp. And now this 2py orbital of both these carbon, they are parallel to each other, so they can undergo parallel overlap like this. So that will give you one of the pi bond, right? And similarly, this 2pz and 2pz, they are again parallel to each other, so they also undergo parallel overlap to give you the other pi bond. So in this way, in this orbital diagram, you can explain the formation of two pi bonds, one carbon-carbon sigma bond because of overlap between sp and sp, and two of the CH bonds, sigma bonds, because of overlap between sp and 1s. Now as I said that each and every hybridization, it is associated with a particular geometry, and I said if it is sp3 hybridization, then the geometry is tetrahedral. These things you have to remember, okay? If it is sp2 hybridization, then the geometry is trigonal planar. And if it is sp hybridization, then it is linear. Okay, these are the corresponding geometries. Now remember one thing very clearly. When we are talking about the geometry, this geometry means it is the geometry of the sigma skeleton of the molecule. That means pi bonds have no contribution in determining the geometry. Okay, so whenever we are saying tetrahedral, trigonal, planar, linear, whatever geometry it means the sigma skeletal structure. That means you just draw the sigma bonds of that molecule only, Now what the molecule looks like, that is the geometry. Pi bonds are not included in the geometry determination of any molecule. Now I will show you some more examples. For example, boron trifluoride, BF3, this molecule. So boron, atomic number 5, so its valence shell will be 2s2 2p1, 1s2 2s2 2p1. So this is the valence shell and it can be written like this. So this is the ground state configuration, right? And in the excited state, one of the electron will be promoted. So this is the 2s, and in the 2p what we have 2 electrons. Okay, 2px, 2py and 2pz. So the covalence is 3, and now it undergo sp2 hybridization to give you 3 unpaired electron in 3 energetically equivalent sp2 hybrid orbital, and the 2pz orbital remains vacant because there is no electron. And for fluorine, what is the valence shell configuration? Its atomic number is 9, so its valence shell is 2s2 2p5. So this is the 2s and this is the 2px, 2py and 2pz, right? So this, so 2pz of fluorine and sp2 hybrid orbital of boron, they will overlap to give you 3bf sigma covalent bond. So how the structure will look like? So this is the orbital diagram of the BF3 molecule. The 2p orbital of fluorine that contains the unpaired electron that undergo overlapping with the sp2 hybrid orbital of boron. So one electron from it, so it is a covalent bond, sigma type of covalent bond. So in this way there are 3 BF sigma covalent bond, and this 2pz orbital in boron remains vacant. So if you see the sigma bonds only, the sigma skeletal structure, it is looking just like this. It is looking just like this. This is the molecule, right? This is one BF bond, this is another BF bond, and this is one BF bond. So you can clearly see it is a trigonal planar molecule on the same plane. All these 3 BF bonds are residing. That's why the geometry is planar, trigonal planar for sp2 hybridization. Now remember one thing, you know that s orbital is closest to nucleus. It has the most penetration effect. So s orbital is closest to nucleus. That means s electrons are held by the nucleus more tightly compared to p electron. So if we are increasing the s character of the hybrid orbital, then that hybrid orbital electrons will be held by the nucleus more tightly. That means their electronegativity will be higher. So it is the same carbon atom, but because of difference in hybridization, their electronegativity will differ. So if you want the order of electronegativity, then if you have sp hybridized carbon, that will have 50% s character, so that will be the most electronegative. Then sp2 hybridized carbon atom, that has only 33.33% of s character, that will be greater than sp3 carbon atom, that has only 25% s character. So greater the s character of the hybrid orbital, greater will be the electronegativity. And this thing will be applied when we will be discussing the order of acidic strength of different carboxylic acids later. Okay, this thing will help us to explain the experimental findings. Now, as far as organic compounds are considered, for carbon, there is a trick to find what is the hybridization of the carbon atom. Okay, it will not help you for each and every molecule, but as far as carbon is considered in an organic molecule, you can find the hybridization of the carbon from the structure by the strip. The number of covalent bonds number of covalent bonds of carbon is always 4, right? It has the covalency 4. Now out of these 4 bonds, if all 4 bonds are sigma, all the 4 are single bond or all the 4 bonds are sigma type of covalent bond, then the carbon is sp3 hybridized. Be sure, if it is forming 1 pi bond and 3 sigma bonds, one of the 4 covalent bond is a pi bond and the remaining 3 are sigma bond, then be sure it is sp2 hybridized. And if the carbon is forming 2 pi bonds and 2 sigma bonds, then it will be always sp hybridized. I will show you one example. If you take carbon dioxide, it is O double bond C double bond O, right? Since it is a double bond, so only one will be sigma, the other will be pi. Here it is sigma, here it is pi. So this carbon atom, it is forming 2 sigma bond plus 2 pi bond. So without any hesitation, you can say this carbon is sp hybridized. Sp hybridized. If I give you another example, suppose in acetylene, we know it is sp hybridized. Now see, this is sigma, here 2 pi bonds and 1 is sigma. So see this carbon, it is forming 2 sigma bonds and 2 pi bonds, so it is sp hybridized. This carbon also forming 2 sigma bonds and 2 pi bonds, so it is also sp hybridized, right? If I give you a structure of another molecule like this one, okay, so take this carbon, it is sigma pi, because only one can be sigma, pi, sigma and this one sigma, right? So for this carbon, it is making 2 sigma bond, 2 pi bond, so it is sp hybridized. But take this carbon, it is making only 1 pi bond but 3 sigma bonds, so it is sp2. This carbon also 2 sigma and 3 sigma, so 3 sigma bonds, only 1 pi bond, so it is again sp2 hybridized. So by using this trait only for carbon in organic compounds or in any compound, for carbon only, using this trait you can find the hybridization of the carbon atom in a molecule. Okay, some more hybridizations are there that will be discussed in our next video. So we are actually stopping here by completing the discussion for sp3, sp2 and sp. Okay, in our next video we will see some 3 more hybridizations, that is your sp3d, sp3d2 and sp3d3, and then we will discuss how we can calculate the state of hybridization of any atom in a molecule. Okay, there is formula and some mathematical interpretation is there. So we will discuss that in our next video. So for now we are stopping here. I hope you have understood it well. Okay, thank you.